The rain had been falling for hours, steady and unrelenting, soaking the city streets until they gleamed with the shimmer of streetlights. It was late, far too late for most people to be out, yet Clara sat curled up on the cold bench at the bus stop, her knees pulled to her chest, arms wrapped tightly around them. The wind crept beneath the thin fabric of her jacket, carrying with it the bitter scent of asphalt and damp leaves. She wasn't waiting for a bus. She didn't even have the fare. She sat there simply because it was the only spot that offered a roof against the storm. The city had countless shelters, but most were either full, unsafe, or closed for the night. Clara had learned that the hard way. At just 21, she looked older than her years, her cheeks hollow, her lips cracked from cold, her eyes shadowed with fatigue. Only her long hair, though tangled and wet, still hinted at the girl she once had been, bright-eyed, full of laughter, always with a sketchbook in hand. That girl had believed in dreams. She wanted to become an artist, to see her drawings displayed in galleries. That girl had had parents who hugged her, who pinned her sketches to the refrigerator door as though they were masterpieces. But all of that was gone. Her parents had died suddenly in a car accident when she was 19. The shock had left her hollow, but worse was the loneliness that followed. Bills piled up, rent went unpaid, and one mistake led to another until she was forced out of the tiny apartment she had once called home. Without family to turn to, Clara found herself drifting first to shelters, then to stairwells, and eventually to park benches and bus stops. She had been invisible for so long that she almost believed she truly didn't exist anymore. Her backpack, damp at the corners, sat at her feet. Inside it were only scraps of her past life, a threadbare sweater her mother once wore, a photo of her parents smiling by a lake, and her sketchbook, new filled with faded pencil drawings of sunsets, strangers, and places she would never visit. She hadn't drawn in days. What was the point of capturing beauty when life itself felt so cruel? The buses came and went. People hurried inside, their umbrellas dripping, their coats clean and dry. They never looked her way. She was just another shadow in the city. Clara shivered, lowering her forehead to her knees, when a soft, trembling voice drifted through the storm. "You need a home, and I need a mommy." The words startled her. She lifted her head, blinking through the rain-smeared glass of the bus stop. Sitting only a few feet away was a little girl. Clara hadn't noticed her arrive. The child was small, maybe 6 years older, with brown hair tied into pigtails, ribbons frayed at the ends. She wore a pale dress that was now damp at the hem, socks sagging around her sneakers. In her arms, she clutched a stuffed bunny so worn its ears drooped like quilted petals. The girl's big brown eyes were fixed on Clara with a mixture of innocence and desperate hope. Clara's throat tightened. "What a broken bar, what did you say?" The girl scooted closer, her voice low but steady. "I said you need a home, and I need a mommy. Maybe broken bar, maybe we can help each other." Clara froze. She almost laughed at the absurdity, but the sincerity in the girl's eyes silenced her. "Sweetheart, where are your parents? Who are you here with?" The girl's gaze dropped to the bunny in her lap. She stroked its ear slowly, as though it gave her courage. "My daddy went away. He said he had to work far, far away, and he never came back. My mommy." Broken bar, her voice faltered. "She got sick. She's in heaven now. I live with my aunt, but she doesn't like me. She says I'm too much work, too noisy." The girl's small shoulders hunched. "Tonight a broken bar, she told me to wait here. She said she'd come back, but she never did." Clara's chest ached. The world had been cruel to her, but the thought of it being this cruel to a child filled her with rage she hadn't felt in years. She reached out instinctively, her hand trembling as she brushed the girl's damp sleeve. "How long have you been sitting here?" The girl shrugged. "I don't know. A long time. I thought maybe she'd come back. But a broken bar, when I saw you, I thought maybe you needed someone too." Clara's lips parted, but no words came. She had thought herself broken, unworthy of care. Yet here was this child, abandoned and hurting, offering her something no one had in years: trust. The girl's voice softened. "You look sad, but you didn't scare me. You're a broken bar kind." Clara blinked against the tears that welled up in her eyes. She hadn't thought anyone would ever look at her and see kindness again. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I don't even have food. I don't have a bed to sleep in tonight. I don't know how I could ever be a mommy to you." The girl tilted her head, considering that with more seriousness than any child her age should carry. Then she whispered, "But you're talking to me. You're not yelling. You touched my arm gentle. That's what mommies do, right? They care for you." Clara's composure shattered. She pulled the little girl into her arms, holding her as tightly as she dared. The girl nestled into her chest without hesitation, clutching her body between them. Clara's tears fell freely now, mixing with the rain on her cheeks. For the first time in years, she didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel worthless. She felt needed. The buses continued to hiss past, lights glowing in the wet night, carrying people toward destinations Clara couldn't imagine. She and the girl sat in their small bubble beneath the bus stop roof, clinging to each other as though the world outside didn't exist. After a long silence, Clara whispered, "What's your name, sweetheart?" The child lifted her head, her lashes wet. "Lily." Clara smiled faintly through her tears. "That's a beautiful name." "I'm Clara." Lily's tiny fingers curled into the fabric of Clara's jacket, as though anchoring herself there. "Clara, a broken bar. Can you be my mommy, even if you don't have a house?" Clara pressed her lips to the child's damp hair, her heart breaking and healing all at once. She couldn't promise a future she didn't know how to build, but in that moment, she could promise one thing, the only thing Lily needed to hear. "I'll take care of you the best I can," Clara whispered. And in the dim glow of the streetlight, with the storm quieting around them, it felt like the beginning of something neither of them had ever dared hope for. The night at the bus stop had bound Clara and Lily together in a way neither of them could have imagined. By morning, when the storm had faded into a pale drizzle, Clara realized she couldn't just sit there and hope for the best. Lily was only a child, and as much as Clara longed to hold on to her forever, she couldn't ignore reality. The authorities would need to be involved. But her heart squeezed with fear at the thought. What if they didn't believe her? What if they accused her of kidnapping? Worse, what if they sent Lily back to the very woman who had abandoned her? Clara squeezed Lily's hand tightly as they walked through damp streets toward the nearest police station. The little girl's sneakers splashed through puddles, and her bunny dangled from her arm, its fur dripping water. Clara glanced down at her. "Are you okay?" Lily nodded, though her lips trembled. "I'm okay if you're here." Those words are so simple, so trusting, are both warmed and terrified Clara. She had failed herself countless times. What if she failed this child, too? Inside the police station, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. A man in uniform at the desk eyed Clara warily, taking in her soaked clothes and the frightened child glued to her side. His voice was brusque. "Can I help you?" Clara swallowed, forcing herself to speak. "This little girl, a broken bar. Her name is Lily. She was left at a bus stop last night. Her aunt never came back for her. She told me she doesn't feel safe with her." The officer frowned, but before he could respond, a woman with kind eyes and dark hair pulled back into a bun stepped forward. She wore plain clothes, but her badge glinted. "I'm Detective Ramos. Why don't you come with me?" In her office, Detective Ramos knelt so she was eye level with Lily. Her voice softened. "Sweetheart, can you tell me what happened?" Lily clutched Clara's sleeve tightly. "My aunt told me to a broken bar and she didn't come back. Clara found me. She's my mommy now." Clara's chest tightened, tears pricking her eyes. Detective Ramos's gaze lingered on her, measuring. Then she nodded. "Thank you, Lily. You're safe now. We'll take care of this." The days that followed blurred together. Social workers interviewed Lily, asking questions about her home, her aunt, her parents. Each answer from Lily only confirmed what Clara already knew. The child had been neglected, unloved, and unwanted. Her aunt had a history of leaving her alone, and now it was clear she had abandoned her altogether. Clara expected the authorities to take Lily away immediately. What she hadn't expected was the social worker, a graying man with tired eyes, asking Clara a question that stunned her. "Would you be willing to serve as Lily's temporary guardian while we sort things out?" Clara's mouth fell open. "Me? About a broken bar? I don't have a real home. I don't even have steady work. Yeah, I sleep wherever I can. I can't a broken bar." "You can," the man interrupted gently. "You've already earned her trust. That's not something we see often. And there are programs, shelters for women with children, financial assistance, Work training. If you're willing, we'll help you. Clara's pulse pounded. She had nothing but the determination in her chest and the child clinging to her hand as though she were the only safe harbor left in the world. She whispered, "Yes, I'll do it." Within a week, Clara and Lily moved into a transitional housing program for mothers and children. It wasn't much, just a small, shared apartment with peeling paint and a single bedroom, but to Clara, it was a palace. She had walls, a bed, a stove. She had a door that locked, and most importantly, she had Lily. The first night, Clara tucked Lily into the twin bed while she curled up on the cot. Lily held her bunny and whispered, "Good night, Mommy." Clara's throat burned. She reached over to squeeze her hand. "Good night, sweetheart." The next morning, Clara rose before dawn and started her first shift at a local diner. The work was grueling, cleaning tables, refilling coffee, scrubbing floors, but she welcomed it. For the first time in years, every dollar she earned had a purpose. Every ache in her back meant food on the table for Lily, crayons in her hand, a roof over her head. Lily adjusted quickly to her new life. She started at a nearby school, skipping into the classroom with her bunny tucked inside her backpack. In the evenings, she would chatter endlessly about her teacher, her new friends, and the books she was reading. Clara, exhausted from her shifts, would listen with a tired smile while stirring macaroni on their tiny stove. One evening, Lily climbed into her lap while Clara sketched in her notebook. "What are you drawing?" Clara showed her a rough sketch of the bus stop where they had first met. Lily traced the lines with her finger. "That's where we became family." Clara kissed the top of her head. "Yes, it is." Months passed. Clara worked harder than she ever thought possible. She picked up extra shifts at the diner and sold her sketches at a flea market on weekends. Slowly, their little apartment filled with small touches: a second-hand bookshelf, a rug, a few colorful posters Lily picked out. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. Through it all, Lily never stopped asking, "You'll always be my mommy, right?" And every night, Clara whispered back, "Always." 6 months later, the day of the custody hearing arrived. Clara sat nervously in the courtroom, her hands trembling as she smoothed Lily's dress. Lily sat beside her, clutching her bunny, her little legs swinging beneath the bench. The judge, a stern woman with silver hair, listened as social workers presented their reports. Lily's aunt had been found unfit to care for her. Clara, despite her rocky start, had made extraordinary progress: a steady job, housing, glowing reports from Lily's teachers. Finally, the judge looked at Clara. "You came into this child's life by chance, but sometimes, the right people find each other in unexpected ways. Clara, do you wish to formally adopt Lily as your daughter?" Tears blurred Clara's vision. Her voice shook, but her answer was firm. "Yes." More than anything in the world, the judge raised her gavel and struck it once. "Then it is so. Custody and adoption are granted." Lily squealed with joy, leaping into Clara's arms. "See, Mommy, I told you. You needed a home, and I needed a mommy. Now we have both." Clara laughed through her tears, holding her tightly. For the first time since her parents' death, she felt whole. That night, back in their apartment, Clara hung a photo on the wall, a picture taken after the hearing, the two of them smiling together, Lily clutching her bunny. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. Clara tucked Lily into bed, brushed her hair back, and whispered, "Good night, my daughter." Lily smiled sleepily. "Good night, Mommy." Clara turned off the light, her heart full. She had once been a young woman with nothing, lost in the rain at a bus stop, but fate had sent her a little girl who saw her worth when no one else did, and together, they had built something stronger than walls or money could provide.